I have left the hut maybe 45 minutes ago, no more than an hour, and I've decided to come down to Cape Pillar for this afternoon. This track is first class. They've certainly taken the roll out of the hill here and made it very achievable all year round, I dare say. Just got to squiggle my way up and over that hill. It's taken about 10 years to get to this spot. It's been on my list for about that long, and it's been worth the wait 100%. This is just absolutely amazing. This is my first ever glimpse from on top of this section of the track to Tasman Island. I have seen glimpses of the island from the eastern side, but not like this. This is just incredible. And I've got this amazing shaft of sunlight on the lighthouse over in the background. And even though the photography, the lighting is not at its best, this is just an incredible experience just to see this in person. I've taken my first image here standing out at Cape Pillar, and it's a pretty intimidating place to be taking photographs, rest assured. I have set the camera up on the end of this ledge, and I deliberately haven't filmed the shooting of this picture that I've just done because it just feels a bit too intimidating standing on the edge of that and having too much going on. So I've decided to give you a quick rundown of what I've done. Here, I really love this gnarly little bush in the foreground, and it makes a fantastic composition looking in this direction northwesterly. What I have got is I've got all this sea mist bellowing up through that cliff face there, and with the sun diffusing its way through there, it's making a very atmospheric picture. I have got Tasman Island in full view in the background. I think the composition that I had in mind from here doesn't really work. I'm not a real fan, being subjective here, of these rocks jutting up out, blocking the transition of the water between it, so it loses that feeling of being an island. But what I have noticed is standing up on my little outcrop here is there's a viewing platform way down on the edge of that cliff there with a seat there, so that might be a good place to go and get myself set up tomorrow morning if the weather permits, with a nice easterly facing aspect. So I've literally been running into location. I've underestimated the way the sun sets here, and it's going to get blocked very quickly by that peak in the background. So as it says on the chart, sunset's about 4:30, 4:45 here in the evening. But I reckon that peak is going to knock about half hour of my sunset off. But a positive as well to this new place that I found, it's not the original place on the way in. I just don't think I would have had time to race up over that ridge given the way the sun's setting. But I have actually got some storm clouds coming in. You can see some rain between the gap there. It's just starting to poke its way through that section of Tasman Island, and I've also got a bit of a rainbow in the background as well. So I'm just going to hang here. This is absolutely remarkable just to be here and just watch this. Hopefully I'll get some good pictures. I've set the camera up with a 35mm lens, and I've put a circular polarizer on just to add a little bit of punch between the clouds there. But what I also might try as well is that long exposure of the neutral density filter and just play around with some different compositions and see what I come up with. Check it out. Starting to get some amazing colours across the horizon here, looking out over Tasman Island. Definitely worth getting up extra early to make my way down to this little location that I marked out yesterday. I have chosen to shoot in a almost southeasterly direction here, looking out over Tasman Island. What I really wanted to capitalise on was the ability to capture these amazing pinks and oranges coming across the horizon, and I just felt that being back over the other side of the peninsula got blocked by the Blade, or the area that's known as the Blade, so really trying to capitalise on as much sun as I can here in late July in Tasmania. I'm about 15 minutes from true sunup, and I've taken a few exposures already. I've taken a few longer exposures just on the pre-dawn, and I've got some really nice colour coming through those clouds already. I've got the lighthouse shining its beacon at me. I've got exposures up to 30 seconds at the moment, and I'm just going to keep dialing that in as the sun pokes its way over the horizon and play around and try and get a really cool picture of Tasman Island. I'm just on my way back from Cape Pillar, and true to what I predicted the other day, the photography appeared to be at its best around about 10:30 onwards, and I managed to grab myself some nice pictures of Tasman Island from one of the eastern lookouts around about that time. It took forever for the sun to actually come out. It's been pretty overcast, like you can see, and I've basically spent the last few hours just sitting there admiring the view, waiting for a pocket of light to come through, and sometimes that's just what it takes. I'm heading back to the second hut where I'll pack some of my other gear that I left there. Check out this view along the way, and I'll have a nice cup of coffee and make my way to the third hut along this stretch of magnificent coast. Just on the approach to the third hut, which is called Retakuna, and it's only about an hour between huts, which makes a nice gentle walk after being out to the Cape. Just up to another boot washing station. So today marks the beginning of day 4, which is the last day of this Three Capes trek, and I had a very restful night last night in Retakuna Hut. This morning I've got to head up over the top of Mount Fortescue, down to Cape Hoy, and conclude my walk in Fortescue Bay. So let's go and check it out. how amazing is this? To experience such temperate rainforest like this and how green it is here in Tasmania, down the Tasman Peninsula, is just undescribable. You'd be forgiven for thinking that you're up in the Cradle Mountain National Park or somewhere where you get greenery like this all year round, but to experience this on the Three Capes track is unbelievable. It's a real break from shooting sea cliffs. What I've done is I brought my main pack and I have unloaded a heap of my overnight gear back down at Ratakoona Hut and hopefully grab some more images before retreating back down that hill. It's brought the sweat out of me a little bit. There's not a breath of fresh air and it's a constant climb, but absolutely worth the wait. What I'm doing for this picture is I'm basically taking a photograph of the walking track, believe it or not, and I just really enjoy the way it snakes around here through all these twisted trees up into the background. I have got a negative space or a clearing in the forest just there, which allows some beautiful side lighting to come through, which really helps highlight all the lichen on the trees and all the moss growing down on the side of these rocks. And for my foreground, I'm gonna shoot this little plant here, and because it's dead still, that thing's not moving one little bit, which is amazing. And I'm gonna frame this composition with this fallen tree. I have set the camera up with a 35mm lens and I've got my circular polarizer on the front, and I'm shooting at ISO 80 and I've got the camera on f11 at 4 seconds. So just heading down into Cape Hoy, made pretty good time from Ratakoona Hut and making my way down before I ascend back up out to the Cape there. Lots of stairs to go down, which means I've got lots of stairs to come back up. Just out near the end of Cape Hoy, and I couldn't help but admire this splinter of rock. Well, I guess you could call it a splinter of rock that's just departing its way from the side of the cliff there, and it looks absolutely incredible staring down that out to sea. I am very careful with setting up my camera gear here. I am literally on the edge, so I've got the camera set up nice and low, and I've taken a series of photographs here. What I've done is I've had to take 3 separate images, and I'm going to stick these 3 separate images together in post-production, stitching them together. My 35mm lens has no way of shooting down there and all the way to the top of that cliff with one single frame. So I've done a few different images like that. I've shot it at f11 and I've shot it at half a second. The light is actually very low at the moment, even though it's 11 o'clock in the morning, and the sun is over my shoulder as well. So I haven't used a circular polarizer. There is no glare on the water at this stage, and I've got quite a nice even exposure between the ocean and the cliff face here. Not a lot of contrast at all. Just making my way back to Fortescue Bay from Cape Hoy, and I'm just sitting on the edge of this ledge here, and I'm just admiring this little spiraling rock coming up out of the ocean. And what I'm really liking is the simplicity of that against a very mono background. It's very overcast at the moment. There's really not a lot of colour, but I'm just enjoying how the tones interact between that rock face and the ocean down below. I am using exaggerated shutter speeds. I've put a 10-stop ND filter on, a circular polarizer, and I'm pushing exposures out to the 30-second range here, just to really flatten that ocean off, and any white caps that are out there or trails of white water will give a sense of motion through that water. What I want to show you now is, while I'm packing up and make my way back to Fortescue Bay, is a few photos that I took a few years ago. I actually camped out here on the Cape, and I was lucky enough to grab a really nice sunset photo and a really nice sunrise looking out over Cape Hoy. I just wanted to throw these images in to give you a sense of what this place looks like with different lighting early in the morning and late evening, as I'm not able to cover those distances on the 3 Cape track and enjoy the walk as well. So enjoy these for a few moments as I make my way back to Fortescue. So I've arrived to Fortescue Bay here in Tasmania, and what an amazing afternoon it is in July. The sun started to come out late afternoon and it just looks fantastic at the moment. Might even have myself a dip over on the beach, not too sure. A great ambition this time of year to have a swim, but reality is when you get your feet in the water it's a different story. Anyway, thanks for watching my latest wilderness and photography adventure here in Tasmania, and I look forward to bringing you more videos in the future. Stay tuned.